your latest in business and finance from ABC News Now.
You're watching live coverage of the New York Stock Exchange opening bell right here on ABC News Now. And ringing the bell this morning, executives and guests of Regency Energy Partners, company celebrating its recent transfer to the exchange from the NASDAQ. And there it is, the bell for Thursday, December 8th. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Kleffler in New York. Dow futures seesawing this morning following yesterday's 46-point gain. So joining me now to discuss the business headlines at this hour, a new contributor for us. He's a man, of course, you may recognize, Jeff Mackey, co-host of Breakout on Yahoo Finance. Jeff, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, good morning, Dan. It's great to be here.
Listen, we got a lot to hit to this morning, including Europe, of course. Though I want to start with jobless claims for the week. Came out about an hour ago. They hit a 9-month low. This might have been a bit of a surprise. 381,000. It's down 23,000. What's your take on this?
My take is these numbers are widely looked at. They make for a great headline, but it's a very noisy number. You can't survey all 300-odd million Americans and come up with a specific number for jobless claims overnight. That said, we're trending in the right direction. Our jobless numbers in the States are still a national disgrace, slightly less so than they were a month ago. It's good news on the margin.
All right, so we have to put the caveat in there that a lot of that has to do with the fact that people just simply stopped looking for work altogether, though.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying the economy is any great shakes, but it's all about direction in the trading world. It's not about where we are on an absolute basis. If it were, the Dow would be about half where it is right now. We want the trend to be better in terms of jobs in this country, and it's getting there inch by inch.
Heading in the right direction. Okay, I want to head overseas now, over to Europe. Of course, the European Central Bank made a pretty aggressive move today with interest rates. Tell us what you know about that.
Well, they cut it to 1%, which undoes some interest rate hikes that they'd done earlier. This is not unexpected. There's a battle going on for the soul of the European banking system, with the ECB in one camp trying to assume Federal Reserve-like powers to print money and do whatever they want, and those who are objecting to this stance, obviously that would be sort of the Germans who don't want to bail out the profligate countries of Europe. I would advise investors to pay a little less attention to this. The headlines are going to whipsaw the market. It's hard for even the pros to trade. Let's back up, and we can read about it on Sunday.
Yeah, Angela Merkel, obviously a very, very strong woman over there, and she certainly had a lot of sway in the direction of these talks, which I want to talk about that. The start of the summit in Brussels, it could be this meeting that actually leads to a solution for debt crisis. I mean, what's the possibility that they're going to come out with a real answer from this?
Slim and none, and
okay.
Slim's out of town. That said, let's not bet on the apocalypse. Let's not bet on utopia. What they're going to do is muddle through. It's not that complicated if you just back away from the economics and consider these folks as people. They're people who want to get elected, and you don't do that going extremist. So Europe's going to come up with some solution to duct tape this thing together, get the jalopy moving down the street, and that'll be good enough for now. I think that's what we're going to hear is just whatever they can do to assuage the market, that Europe's not falling into the abyss. That's what they'll do.
Put this into context for me, because the S&P has threatened that it might be downgrading the EU's rating of a AAA rating. What kind of ramification is that going to have? Because we really have seen kind of the significance that the S&P's rating is really having on countries.
Yeah, we saw that, and there was much Sturm und Drang, to use a German term. When the S&P did that to the United States, they downgraded the United States in August. Everyone got all up in arms, and it turns out it really didn't matter. The credit ratings agencies are fighting their own war for credibility right now, and Standard & Poor's has taken the role of international scolds. You better do this or else. I don't think it has much of any impact in terms of the actual economics of this situation.
I want to turn back at home now. John Corzine, former New Jersey senator and governor, he's set to testify before Congress today. He's prepared a statement saying that, among other things, ultimately I had overall responsibility for the firm. I do not, however, generally involve myself in the mechanics of the clearings and settlement of trades. Also, he goes on, I simply do not know where the money is or why the accounts have been reconciled to date. What do you make of this whole MF situation? Because a $1.2 billion has gone missing, and he says he can't account for it.
Yeah, I believe the last part, where he has no idea where the money went. In terms of him not being on the phone, actually executing brokerage statements, well, no kidding. That's because you were the CEO, Mr. Corzine. He's got to hang for this. This is why folks are distrustful of Wall Street, because they get away with this kind of garbage. What MF did, was they levered up 40 to 1, meaning for every dollar they actually had, they put 40 bucks in on a bet on European debt. It was a horrible bet. They might as well have bought magic beans, and they used shareholders' money to do it, investors' money to do it. That's simply wrong. It's a violation both ethically, morally, and in terms of the laws as I understand them. He's out to lunch on this.
Is it going to do anything, though, that he's making a statement? Because he said other people may have just invoked the Fifth and said, hey, you know what, I don't have to answer these kinds of questions.
Yeah, it's a little late for him to claim the moral high ground.
All right. With 1.2 gone missing, I would imagine it certainly would be a tough argument to make. Costco, they're out with their earnings for the quarter. How'd they do?
I'm long the stock, so as far as I'm concerned, cartwheels in the street, fantastic. Here's why the stock is down a little bit today, though. It's margin pressure. Their revenues came in better than expected. EPS came in line. What that means is that they paid more to sell the goods. And that's what it's all about here, margins. That answers the question, or speaks to the question of whether or not these retailers made any money when they marked down all their goods on the Thanksgiving sales. Costco, a little cautious, but keep in mind that stock is near all-time highs. A little pullback here, not unexpected. Overall, the numbers are pretty good.
All right. Speaking of shopping, FedEx, they did a little early holiday shopping with Boeing. What do you hear about that?
I think it's a terrific sign for the U.S. economy. It also speaks a little bit to Europe. Boeing's main competitor is EADS, however you want to pronounce it. They're basically a subsidized operation out of the Netherlands. Boeing is securing contracts at a huge clip here, and that's critical for U.S. manufacturing. It's great for Boeing, and it's nice that FedEx is out there spending money, given that anyone else who flies planes seems to go bankrupt about every 10 minutes.
Exactly. Well, a lot of people aren't shipping out those fruitcakes, but now this time of the year, obviously, shipping is very important.
It's fruitcake mania out there, Dan.
You better believe it is. Sign everyone up. Ben Bernanke, that's a man no one really would like to be at this hour. But his popularity, though, on the rise. A new Bloomberg poll, in fact, putting his favorability at 71%. It's up from 60% just 3 months ago. What's going on? Why is everyone liking Bernanke now?
Well, because the ECB is such a disaster is a short answer. Popularity is, of course, relative. And, so Bernanke's got that on his side. But also, the economy is improving just a little bit. And the Fed, like him or not, they're the only guys in the room that are doing anything. He's been calling for assistance from the fiscal side, that is to say the lawmakers. Bernanke's on the monetary side, and he's been saying, listen, the Fed cannot be a cure-all, and yet they're doing their best. He's the only one in D.C. who apparently actually works for a living. Until the lawmakers get on board, this thing dies or lives with Bernanke, and he's keeping it alive, albeit, kind of sluggishly.
All right, what are you keeping your eye on today, Jeff?
I'm watching how the market reacts as just a technical observation. We're getting towards critical levels for the S&P. That Santa Claus rally better start manifesting itself now. We had a great week last week. I'm just hoping for stability here, barring a breakdown. I don't want to be levered up to the Europe situation at all. I want to see the market start trading on the U.S. economy, which frankly isn't as bad as everyone would make you think.
Everyone's getting distracted, though, from everything happening overseas.
Yeah, exactly. It's always a good idea to keep your head out of Europe.
All right. Everyone here in America. Jeff Mackey, the co-host of Breakout on Yahoo Finance. Jeff, thanks so much for the insight. Appreciate it.
Hey, it was great to be here.
And, of course, we'll see you back here again next Thursday.
Absolutely.